the experts at Omada Real Estate. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Big 12 Media Days roll on. Jake Scott hanging out with you right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Our Big 12 Media coverage brought to you by Omada Real Estate. Buying or selling a home, check out the good folks from Omada. Hey, we're teaming up with Beehive Meals, honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer you know for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. You can do so at kslsports.com/contest, and then listen every Thursday, that's tomorrow, to the Jake and Ben Show for the winner. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. And again, submit that nomination at kslsports.com/contest. Man, has it been a busy day here in Frisco as things are wrapping up a little bit. Players and coaches doing their final interviews before shipping off back home, of course, to get ready for the upcoming football season. Fall camps right around the corner for all of these guys. And everybody's optimistic and riding high. And then 2 days hit, right? And things change, I'm sure, for these guys. But right now we've had a ton of great interviews today. It's been a lot of fun. Keep teasing this. Our Utah content, all of our Utah interviews, we're going to re-rack those for you coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. So our conversation this morning with Morgan Scalley, quarterback Devin Dampier, Jonathan Hall, the linebacker, defensive end Lance Holtzclaw, and running back Wayshawn Parker. But because we've been so busy and things have been coming fast and furious, we haven't had a chance to catch up on some of the podium sound as all of the head coaches for the Big 12 did their podium appearance. And we've been so busy, in fact, we haven't had a chance to hear from the Utah coach at the podium. So you'll get Morgan's interview with us coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. But right now, let's go ahead and get to Utah head coach Morgan Scalley and his podium comments earlier today.
Steve Bartle, KSL Sports. Coach, it's a new era at Utah. How do you want to define Utah football moving forward?
Well, Utah football has had a brand that's very recognizable. It's a physical brand, and it's very family-oriented. I don't know that I want to necessarily change that recipe for success. It's maybe just the way the meal's prepared a little bit different, the way we lift and condition. If you ask anyone in our building, what's your culture, they will tell you RSNB, relentless, smart, nasty ball hawks, and that's just a way of playing and a way of living that I hope defines what we do on the football field.
Sammy Mora, YouthZone.com on 3. Coach, you guys are replacing your entire offensive line from last year. How would you assess the progress of the guys that are expected to start this fall?
Still some competition there. You're talking about replacing the offensive line. I'm excited for this group. Excited first and foremost because they've got an unbelievable teacher in Jordan Gross, a guy that's done it at the highest level, but it's an amazing teacher. And the development of those guys has been awesome. I think you saw that firsthand in the bowl game against Nebraska. The majority of those guys were not starters at the beginning of the season. Those are the guys that you're going to see come the season. Their development both in the weight room and on the football field has been awesome. And I love the story of those guys that have been waiting their turn, have been grinding and getting the work in, and finally have that opportunity, and now it's time. So that's a group that I'm very excited about.
Whoever goes center or left to the back.
Coach Leo Rivera with Buff Stampede. Now being introduced to the coaches in this conference, how have you been able to connect with those guys, and do you have any conversations with them?
Great coaches in this conference, some that I've competed against, some that I recruited. I was a graduate assistant for 2 years at the University of Utah, and they gave me the area of Colorado to recruit. And I remember seeing this quarterback that I absolutely loved. He was long-levered, and I couldn't go see him because, at the time, graduate assistant can't go out on the road recruiting. So I had him come to us. And he, on his own dime, flew out, showed up on campus in a shirt and tie, suit and tie. and left without an offer. But you know who offered him? Kansas State. It was Colin Klein. Isn't that crazy? So, I mean, you know, and I've got relations with Kenny Dillingham, Kalani Sitake, these guys that I've met. So much respect for the coaches in this league. Really good coaches, good men, and it is a competitive league.
Okay, we'll go center left.
Carly Ludlow from the Daily Universe at BYU. Last year at the rivalry game against BYU, there were lots of threats of violence towards Utah fans. What are you hoping to change with the culture of this rivalry as you take over?
Well, I think the Utah-BYU rivalry is one of the best in the country, honestly. And I have so much respect for Kalani and his staff, a lot of the staff I've worked with. But it's definitely a mutual respect. And that's, you know, you're always going to have the extremes. And that's the unfortunate part, is you're going to have those extremes where people are doing stuff that you're not proud about. So I just think the way Kalani and I model, you know, our relationship with one another and the respect we have for each other and our programs should lead the way, hopefully leads the way.
Center right, second row.
Coach Dan Tortora, Wake Up Call, DT.com. When you look at rising from within, not every coach gets to do that, to be with a program that they've obviously loved and supported for such a long time. What does that journey, your personal journey, mean to you, and just what Utah means over the years to now be sitting in that head coach chair?
Oh, it's surreal to be here. My dad played at the University of Utah. My entire family went there. And did I dream of becoming head coach? Not till later in my life, but it is a responsibility I don't take lightly. I've had opportunities to do everything within the program except coach offense. You know, I've been worked in the weight room. I worked as the NFL liaison, the academic coordinator. You name it, I've done it. And I think it's uniquely prepared me for this opportunity. And like I said, I started coaching in 2006. And since that time, there's only been 7 teams in college football and FBS football that have had 3 or less coaching changes, head coaching changes. And of those teams, it's a 64% winning percentage. The teams that have had 3 or above 3, it's a 54% winning percentage. So there's something to be said about continuity and believing in a staff and creating a culture that's sustainable. So grateful to our president, Randall and Mark Harlan, for having the faith in me to continue that legacy.
Center left, second row.
Good afternoon, Coach. Candace Lamb with D210 Sports. You mentioned the motto of the program being relentless, smart, nasty ball hawks. How do you plan on placing your stamp on this program to keep that toughness alive?
Well, that is our culture. Culture is what you believe. It's how you behave based on that belief. And it's the experience that's delivered by that behavior. So, you know, it's what we practice every day. It's not just words on walls. It's not just some great creative acronym. It's a way of life, and you have to practice it every day. When you see the behavior that you're asking for from your players and your staff, you promote it. Promote the heck out of it. Yeah, love it. You promote it, right? And then you don't permit anything that's counter to that culture. I don't care if you're a first-year freshman walk-on to a fifth-year senior that's going to be a draft pick. Everyone has to be held to the same standard. And our guys have bought into the culture. I'm very excited for it to show up on the football field.
Center left, fourth row.
Josh Furlan, Sports.
Speak up, Josh. Good night, dude.
Seriously. All right, Devin Dampier stepped up well in his power forward first year. What have you seen from him this year that gives you confidence that he can take a next step forward?
Well, Devin played a lot of last year, not 100%, you know, sports hernia, but that just goes to show how competitive he is and how tough he is. I'm excited to see him play at full strength again. and also has got tremendous development from Ryan Gunderson, our quarterback coach, as well as Kevin McGibbon. When your best players or your best leaders and your hardest workers, you've got something going for you, and he is one of the best. This guy works his tail off. He understands that he's got deficiencies that he's trying to improve, and he works tirelessly to improve them. So cannot wait for the season that he's about to have.
If any of you have a question for Coach, please raise your hand and we'll get to you. We'll go to center right, third row.
Hey, Coach. James Stackman again, to White Right Sun. How excited are you about welcoming the Arkansas Razorbacks to Rice-Eckley Stadium, second game of the year? And what kind of a challenge is it going to be to face a coach like Ryan Sturlfield, who he's only going to be in his second game at Arkansas? So what kind of a challenge do you have, like preparing for a coach who's working with completely new personnel and putting in a new system in only the second game of the year?
Well, much like Florida, anytime you can get an SEC program to come to Rice-Eckley Stadium, to come to the University of Utah, you're pretty fired up about it. It's obviously a storied program, and we can't wait to welcome them to Salt Lake City. Our stadium, our atmosphere is absolutely incredible, and we know that they're going to have a ton of athletes. And, you know, when you're preparing for a new offense, you're preparing for new personnel, that's no different than every other year. You know, you're going to do the best you can with the film you have, and ultimately, you know, we're just excited to snap the football.
Yeah, Morgan, Barry Trammell from the Tulsa World. I was told today that you actually, when you got out of school, you started your career in radio, spent a year, and then went into coaching. Just perspective, did you make the right career decision?
Well, I've got a video, I can tell. Loved my time at 1280 The Zone, Lemma Harrington. It was the Red and Blue show. I missed being in football. I missed teaching and the camaraderie, the connection that you have to players. But yeah, that was a fun time, and I sure made a fool out of myself on the radio. So I decided to get into football.
That is Morgan Scalley, the Utah head coach, at his first Big 12 Media Days. That, of course, was his podium sound, talking about his team in typical Morgan fashion, as he's been a little bit of a star at his first Big 12 Media Days, getting a lot of attention as the new Utah head coach. And quick tease, we will have all of our Utah content for you coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Our conversation with Morgan Scalley this morning, and then the players, Devin Dampier, linebacker Jonathan Hall, defensive end Lance Holtzclaw, and running back Wayshawn Parker. All of those guys were great on the station here. So if you didn't have a chance earlier to hear those conversations, those are coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Here in the 4 o'clock hour, we've been trying to catch up on the podium sound that we missed with all the action here at Big 12 Media Days, and specifically the coaches we didn't get a chance to talk to. So we've got Lance Liepold coming up next, head coach at Kansas. We definitely had a chance to catch up in person with Brent Brennan and Scott Satterfield and Rich Rodriguez. We've got all of those up at KSLSports.com today, and on top of all the content that we had yesterday as well. So would encourage you to check that out if you didn't have a chance to hear it live. So coming up right around the corner, we've got Kansas head coach Lance Liepold, and then all of our Utah content coming up in the at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. Stay tuned. Big 12 coverage right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Big 12 Media Days roll on. Our coverage down here for the past couple of days brought to you by our friends at Omada Real Estate. Big thanks to them for sponsoring all of this coverage. It's been great talking to players and coaches, not only yesterday, but today as well. Here in the 4 o'clock hour, we've been catching up on our podium sound, specifically from coaches that we haven't had a chance to hear from. And we did hear from Morgan Scalley in the previous segment. Let's now move on to Kansas head coach Lance Liepold.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here. As many of us have said before, it's kind of the time that knows that the season's right around the corner. We appreciate everybody being here covering the Big 12 Conference and our programs. Really excited about the opportunity to bring 5 of our players here today: Blake Harold, Leroy Harris, Cam Pickett, Kelvin Clements, and Trey Lathan, who do a great job representing our program. Also, this morning's release that our partnership with XRP and to have our jersey sponsorship with them is just another step in the great job that our administration has done moving our programs forward. At this time, I will open up for questions.
Again, if you have a question, please raise your hand. I will go to center right, second row.
Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Coach, bringing in Yasin Willis from Syracuse, just what you saw in him in the backfield, what he's done up to this point, why you feel like being at Kansas might be his best chapter yet.
Yeah, great question. I appreciate that. And, you know, your son's done a great job. He's a big back, physical back, downhill runner, able to move the pile a little bit. You know, Andy Kolnicki has returned to our program as play caller, and I know he's really excited about what he gives us. That and the addition, we really like, first of all, the depth of the room that we have in the running back position. But your son being complemented with Dylan Edwards, we think we really have two different running styles that can really give us some explosiveness as an offense and some versatility.
All right, we'll go to center left, midway back.
Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic. We talked to Kenny Dillingham yesterday about the challenge of the game in London. Can you talk about the challenges and the rewards?
And I think it's an opportunity for both our programs for this conference. Obviously, it does have its challenges, but when the commissioner brought this opportunity to us, first of all, as giving up a home game. We're in phase 2 of our stadium renovation, and we're at a reduced capacity, so that was part of the formula. But, you know, I'm still about, and I think we're still about student-athlete experience. And I think we're providing an opportunity for our student-athletes to have a once-in-a-lifetime experience to go over there and play a football game. I've mentioned it many moons ago when I was a graduate assistant at the University of Wisconsin. We played in Tokyo, Japan. And when I run into former players at that time, they still talk about that game and the trip and everything that went along with it. Now, playing week 3 is definitely going to be unique to us and the challenges that are provided. You know, both teams will have an open week afterwards, but, you know, getting there, acclimating, time change, you know, everything from meals to practice facilities. I had a chance to go over there in April to see it. It's going to be a great setup. You get to play in one of the more iconic stadiums and really all the world and all the places that it's had. I think it's going to be a special experience, but one, like you said, and Kenny has alluded to as well, is to have our teams ready to play that day, but then to continually play the 9 games afterwards will be very important.
Center right, second row.
Coach Lynn Harrington, Stay Alive Par 5. How you doing today?
Good.
Good to see you again. So to follow up on, you know, your matchup with Arizona State and London, is there more urgency for that, considering, you know, when teams play over there, like what happened to Kansas State last year, you know, they lost that game and then they kind of had a disappointing season. Is there more urgency to try to go out there and win? And what do you plan on doing to utilize the spotlight, the exposure on that game?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the last part of that.
I said, how you plan on utilizing the spotlight with the exposure on the game?
I'm sorry, great. You know, a little bit of difference, and again, when you go over and play that game, if you win, you know, everything's good. If not, if things, then everybody has that. That's the reason the rest of the season, and that's a tough opportunity. The one thing that I think is a little different, even though it's in week 3 for us versus the Kansas State-Iowa State game of a year ago, both those teams came back and had to play that next Saturday. Didn't matter if it was an FCS opponent or who they each played, they had to get their teams back and ready, and that's tough. And that's, you know, I think hopefully we feel we have a very confident plan that when we do get back about how we're going to get our guys, some time down, transition back, and then get ready for a game on October 3rd. So I think that'll be, you know, very important as we move forward. Yes, there's probably some, you know, obstacles that go with it, but we feel good about that. Obviously, the opportunity, Big Noon Cook-Off's going to be at the game. That's huge. Anytime a chance for your university to be kind of separate and on the stage with Arizona State, the opportunities that'll be, the coverage that'll bring. Hopefully many of you are still going to cover that as well. And hopefully the branding of that it does really for both universities across the board, not just for football, but we hope all these things can happen. And I just hope really it's just the start of opportunities for this conference to really take advantage of things that'll happen internationally. We talk about a lot of things in our sport now that are going on that emulate a lot of things that are done in the NFL. Well, there's a reason why the NFL keeps adding more and more games internationally for different reasons. Yes, they have more open weeks, they have more games, but if it wasn't beneficial to the overall bottom line, and let's face it, we got to worry about the bottom line. If it wasn't beneficial, they wouldn't be doing it. And I think, again, with the vision of Commissioner Yormark and his aggressiveness to maybe be outside the box in some things, I think that hopefully we'll be on the cutting edge of this for years to come.
Center left, second row.
Hi, Kennedy Hardiman with D210 Sports. Coach, I'm going to take a shift here. So I'm going to focus on impact a little bit. I know that life after football is really important, and your impact on your team is really important. What are the fundamentals from this program that you hope your players take with them on into life, and hopefully when they do go to the NFL or if they do get drafted?
Great question. I appreciate that. I think a lot of things that we do in our program transitions to what life is about. And when we talk simply in our program about some simple things, number one is punctuality. Being where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. That's a life skill. And honestly, many times we lose sight of that. And if you can't be on time, you want to own a business someday, you're going to have appointments. You're going to expect people to be there. So by enforcing the importance of that is something that we start with. We talk about our academics. We continue to do great things in the classroom. We had over a second semester in a row over a 3.4. And what we find out, if you're going to do well, and you can't just be a good football player. You need to be good in everything. And if you strive to improve in every facet of your life, you will get better. We try to emphasize, if you get better in the classroom, we see guys all the time. They may not come from a great academic, maybe foundation from high school or some things, but they get academic success through support in college. Their personal confidence grows. It grows. Their confidence on the field grows. They talk more. They talk more confidently. They ask more questions. They're inquisitive. They're proud when they're doing things. Those things are all life-building things. And we talk about that all the time because, as we know, the average NFL career, though we hope they all can get there, is going to be very small. And I tell our guys, even they're here, I'll give you 5 years in the NFL. That's fine. I'll give you a 5-year career. Odds are you don't have enough money to live the rest of your life. And B, you better find something else to do and you won't even be 30 years old yet. So you better have some other things to fall back on. And we try to emphasize that daily in our program.
Center right in the back.
Hey, Coach. Andy Diedrich, KGSO from Wichita, Kansas. Under your direction, this program has really risen from the ashes. Perennial basement dweller to where you're at now. A couple bowl appearances and then a win. But from where you're at to where you want to be, a contender on the national stage, I'm curious if the approach is different from when you took over to build it back to where it is now, to trying to get to that next step, to contend not only in the conference, but be relevant nationally.
Again, another fine question. I appreciate that. Obviously, standards have changed and expectations have changed in Lawrence, Kansas since we arrived, and we're proud of that. And obviously, the last couple of years have not gone the way we have. We haven't found a way to close out some close ball games. We've had some opportunities, probably well documented, some close losses that easily put us that we could be sitting up here today talking about 4 consecutive bowl games and yada, 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 but we haven't done that. And where does it fall? It falls on the head coach, and I have to do a better job to do that. Our players embrace that. They understand that, A, we're getting people's better shots than we did a couple of years ago as far as who the Kansas Jayhawks are. And we have to embrace that. But I also know that our guys believe that that we put together a staff and a team this year that can be extremely competitive, can be surprising. I love the depth that we have in our program, and we're going to put ourselves in a position, because the one thing about the parity in this conference that kind of goes through with the balance is that we've seen the years, and I've probably said it before, I think the 2021 season, where was Baylor thought of before they won the league in preseason? TCU was probably more the middle of the pack the year that they went to the playoffs. Arizona State was picked at the bottom or near the bottom the year Kenny took them to the playoffs. So there's a lot of things that can happen in this. And through the new portal era, I always think it has to do a little bit with some of the additions that people don't talk about that add depth and quality depth and sustainability to certain teams that allow them to compete. And I think one of the things that we feel good about our team this year is, from the first guy that steps on the field to the next guy, the gap there is the least it's ever been in our time.
All right, center left, 4-4.
Coach Cameron Clark, Daily Universe for BYU. You're one of 7 coaches in the Big 12 to play a night game at LaVell Edwards Stadium. You're the only one to win. What does it take to block out all the noise in each game that you're going to, especially going to London?
Are you trying to jinx me? I don't know. That was we pulled out an exciting game there a couple of years ago. I remember once in a conversation with Chris Kleiman, after he had played there earlier that season, talking about what a great environment, college football environment that is to go play. And it truly is. The environment, the energy, all those things. And it is a tough place to play. But you got to embrace it, and you got to know, and you've got to prepare for the noise and the excitement and those things that go along with it. And again, we try to keep a game close and find a way to win it late. We did.
Time for one final question. We'll go to center right in the back.
We're live here.
Fred Davis, 105.3 The Fan. On a year 6, right? KU football has only 2 head coaches in the last 100 years. In year 6 or later, Mangino and Glenn Mason. What pressure have you felt as you go into year 6? KU football's only had 2 head coaches in the last 50 to 100 years that have actually had a winning season, year 6 or later, Mangino and Mason. What pressure are you feeling? You got the new stadium coming up, and where the Big 12 is, and you got basketball schools like Indiana winning national champions. Why is it so hard to win at KU after year 6, and just kind of where you're at now versus 6 seasons ago?
Well, I'd say this: extra pressure in the year 6. I think I probably put enough internal pressure on myself for our team to be at its best year in and year out, whether it be year 3 or year 6. Like I kind of said earlier, is that there's no doubt expectations are higher. Sustained winning is difficult. And again, you mentioned Indiana. Indiana's done an excellent job. And now many people think everybody can do it, but there's a lot of different things that go into that, and roster investment, and a lot of things that along with great evaluating and great coaching that go hand in hand, and they've done a great job. Our expectation is that we improve, that we put ourselves in position to compete for conference championships. If just like everybody else wants more teams in the playoffs, we put ourselves in position there. Glenn Mason, Mark Mangino did excellent jobs there. Again, for us to be able to contain and to sustain and move forward, I think in today's era of having the ability to add to your roster is honestly, it probably gives us a little better chance. I've talked to Coach Mangino in the past about what he thought after they went to the Orange Bowl, maybe some decisions in recruiting and things that he wished he would have done differently. And some of those is still staying with the same model that got you there without trying to maybe go a different route than they maybe had before. So all those things are kind of taken a look at. We look at what we can do each and every day to put ourselves in position, and we're excited about what this team will be.
There you go. That's Kansas head coach Lance Liepold as the Jayhawks kind of try and put things back on track after last season, as Lance had some success there at Kansas trying to tap back into that. Earlier today, we had a conversation with his wide receiver, Cameron Pickett, who was really, really good. So if you didn't have a chance to hear Cameron earlier today, would encourage you to go to KSLSports.com and do so. Don't forget, all of our Ute content is coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Morgan Scalley, Devin Dampier, Jonathan Hall, Lance Holtzclaw, and Wayshawn Parker. So stay tuned for that. More next from Frisco, Texas, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
We all have routines. I'm Jabron, and with diabetes, mine was finger sticks. Sometimes I skip them because it hurt. The Freestyle Libre 3CGM changed that. It gives me glucose insights without finger sticks. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
Finger sticks are required if your glucose alarms or readings do not match symptoms, or when you see check blood glucose symbol for the first 12 hours. The views expressed should not be used for medical diagnosis or treatment as a substitute for professional medical advice. Individual circumstances may vary. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Of the Cougars, Utes, and the rest of the conference. Live from Frisco, Texas, this is Big 12 Media Day coverage on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Presented by Omada Real Estate. Buying or selling a home? Trust the experts at Omada Real Estate.
Big 12 Media Day, Jake Scott, Tim Lacombe, Patrick Kinahan. It's time to dive back into some Utah football. Joining us now, linebacker for the University of Utah, Jonathan Hall. Jonathan, good morning. Good to see you. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing amazing. It's great to be in Texas right now.
Texas is home, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is.
Near Houston?
Yes, sir. For sure.
So the humidity when you walk out, that just feels really good to you.
Yeah, I'm used to it. So
right.
It's not,
I mean, to guys like us, it's kind of a drag, but I get it.
No, for sure. I'm used to it, so it's nothing to me.
Talk to me about what's going on right now in the locker room. Things kind of starting to form for a season that everybody's excited to see because it's the first time in a long time without Kyle Whittingham.
Mm-hmm. Yes, man. Coach Scalley, he does an amazing and a great job about team camaraderie. And we all are like family. We all talk outside of football. We all, live next to each other. So this season, we are so close. We got a lot of group of guys that love the game and love football, and we'll go out and show it this season.
Morgan Scalley's still around, obviously has a promotion, but he was your coordinator for many years. And Colton Swan, who was a linebacker coach, which is a position you play. So I would think from the linebacker perspective, it's got to be a smooth transition since you've been coached by him since you moved down from safety.
Yes, sir. It definitely is a smooth transition. And also, I will say Coach Swan, he does an amazing job about learning and really teaching us everything that we need to know that is different. So I will say we're fine on both ends for sure.
Do you expect Coach Swan to put his own kind of, the signature on the defense?
He
I'm
does.
sure that's a stamp. That's exactly what I'm looking for.
Nah, for sure. He took over some stuff with Scalley, but he definitely has his own type of style, his own type of – it's a whole, it's the same, but it's different. It's his way. So we loving it, man. We are enjoying it. And he tell us play fast and physical, so –
You're a playmaker, man. Made a ton of tackles last year, flying around the field. As you're watching your tape from last year, and I know you're a detail guy, what are the things that stand out that you want to get better at?
I definitely say I want to be more of a leader on the defensive side. You feel me? This spring, I definitely can see that all the guys, they'll look toward me, or all else fails, all the guys on defense look to me. You feel me? I'm the leader of the defense, so I'll really say just me taking on that role, and you feel me being the best I can be as a leader, for sure.
Yeah, you got a lot of experience, almost 2 years of starting experience, and add on another about double that in terms of playing. And so you speak of yourself as a leader, as you should, because you've got the veteran experience. Sure. But has it just crept on you really fast? You're a senior now, John-O.
Yeah, man, it didn't flew by, man. Me coming up to Utah, it was a big risk. just coming here definitely just changed my life, and I owe the world to Utah and University of Utah. They done so many things, and this season we will have a great and amazing season, and I can't wait to, you feel me? I can't wait to get it started.
I know you guys are very team-oriented, but from an individual standpoint, how do you measure success for yourself?
Yeah.
Is it stats, or how do you do that?
Me, I'm not a big stat guy. I really don't care too much about the media. I really don't care too much about stats. The main focus for me is definitely just having that team, like a team win or like anything team orientated. That's where I really find my joy, because anything that's just me, I had 10 other guys right next to me to help me out. You see what I'm saying? So I definitely say just the team accolades, I will say, for sure.
Off the field, what do you like to do?
Yeah.
I mean, we get to watch you tackle, and
Right.
got 10 tackles against Texas Tech last year. Are you flying around? But off the field, what do we find you doing?
Man, you can find me chilling right there at Lance Holzclaw. He's my next door neighbor. So we be chilling all the time. I love to fish. I love to cook. I love chilling with family, man. I'm just I ain't gonna lie, I'm just a real laid-back guy. Chill. I don't really go out too much. I don't really talk to too many people, so I just be in my own world, to be honest.
Since you've been in Salt Lake for a number of years, you've obviously made the transition, so you've got that down. That's taken care of. But how about when you were just a young kid, basically, when you're coming out of high school down there in the southern part of Texas, coming all the way up to the mountains? You made the transition, so it worked, but how was it?
Really? I will say the coaches, they do an amazing job of just having us, you feel me, we all get homesick. And I got homesick a couple of times, but I had coaches that was there to come to my dorm and just talk to me or just call me over the phone, or they make it really welcoming when you first come in, for sure. And then all our teammates, when I came in, we had Vele, we had Sione Vaki, we had Cole Bishop, and they was the leaders to me, and they kind of just took me under their wing and was like, hey, this is how you do it, this and that and the third. So I really didn't have too much time to just dread about home, because I was just in the film room just practicing the playbook.
Staying busy.
Exactly. So I definitely say it's super welcoming from the coaches. They do a very, very good job.
Well, Jonathan, we can't thank you enough for stopping by. Good luck with the season coming up. Oh, what do you like to cook, real quick?
I like to cook some chicken Alfredo. My biggest thing, I love to cook steak.
Oh,
it's
man.
easy for me.
Oh, yeah.
Invite me over.
For sure, yeah.
Hey, Bar W beef, man. That's the stuff you need.
No.
Good luck, Jonathan. Thank you
so
very much.
Yes,
we appreciate it. There you go. That's Jonathan Hall, linebacker for the Utes. We'll have his teammate, Lance Holtzclaw, coming up next. Stay tuned. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.